Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Ricky with Learn Plan Profit. Hope you guys are all having a good day. And today we're definitely starting off to a better start. I think I'm up, yeah, $490. I have my open and all that good stuff. So 483, 490 on the day. Um, so I just want to make sure that all of you guys can hear me okay. We have a slight resistance right around $3, $33.50. So I was considering about selling. I'm going to be very patient and just hold. I know that there could be a couple pullbacks. There's like scalp potential and all that stuff. Also, I did see that JNUG /GC. I was getting a couple alerts that that thing was moving up. So that was really nice to see. We might be seeing a potential reversal, maybe not, maybe yes. So can you guys all hear me okay? Is it live?
Yes, it is.
Let's see. Yeah?
Yeah, you're live.
All right. Sounds good, sounds good. Here we go. Yes, all right. What's going on, Jay Boulder? Yeah, so it looks like we are getting rejected by that slight resistance at around 33.50. I showed you guys already the position that I'm in on that one, trying to recover from a pretty solid loss from yesterday, right? I'm just gonna hold it and let it do its thing. I'm gonna focus a lot more now on swing trading, but now the question is like, what about for that, Fidelity account, that stock market growth challenge? What's the position? The next position that I'm going to be taking on that. So that's pretty much what I'm going to be focusing on today, and then we can kind of go from there. I'm going to break down very quickly, so like just talk about some of these stocks that are showing signs of a potential uptrend. JNUG showing signs of a potential reversal if we go on the 20-day 1 hour analysis. I just want to make sure that you guys understand that this thing has been acting as a resistance, as we could see right here, right here. So be sure to, as this thing is pushing up, that you take that into consideration, that this might be acting as a potential resistance on the 180-day chart. It's trying to show signs of a potential reversal. Just know that it's done this before and then it just gets rejected. I just want to make sure that I set that precaution out there that as it's pushing up, there's nothing wrong with like locking in profits and stuff like that. So yeah, so ticker symbol ON, another huge sell-off. Looks like it fully got rejected. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set an alert for the break of the reversal and then kind of go from there. DWT looking like it's pulling back, so I'm going to remove that from there. PayPal still having a green day, a little bit below $87. If you could see how it's been pushing up, the MACD indicator is showing signs of a potential pullback. Looks like that $87 price point is becoming more of a solid resistance. So let's just make sure that we take that into consideration. There's nothing wrong with locking in profits or leaving some shares available for the potential or the idea that it can continue to uptrend. But let's just make sure that we see this descending MACD indicator. The RSI is also showing signs of a potential resistance. And yeah, I mean, there's definitely nothing wrong with locking in profits around this area. It looks like it has been rejected around that area before, and then it pulls back quite a bit. So, just let's make sure that we take that into consideration. Ticker symbol KEM pulling back, and this is something that we talked about when, if it doesn't hold above the EMA line and it doesn't bounce and push right back up, then it can get rejected and try to bounce right around the SMA line. Oh wow. UWT just broke above its resistance for the day, right? Making new highs for the day, up a little bit over $500. So now I'm pretty much only down $2,000 from yesterday. So that's a good way to put it. Totally kidding. Yeah, I'm really excited to focus much more on swing trades and kind of just keep it at that. So I think we would do pretty good today. Parrot, yeah, have to try to make you guys laugh. So I'm actually going to remove. So what I'm going to be doing with KEM is KEM is my active uptrend watch list. So I have my alert if it goes above 26. So because of that, I'm going to remove it from my watch list as it's no longer actively trending up. Thank you again. Who was it that just called it out? No, that's no 2K is a lot. That's like my Kane's fund, right? As we could see for ticker symbol SFIX, the MACD indicator still trying to pull back. It's showing signs of a potential reversal. Just know that Sometimes it does sell off a little bit more aggressively. One thing that we want to take into consideration as it's trying to push up is that it is trying to hold above this EMA indicator. That's looking pretty nice. I want to give it a little bit more time to see if we start making higher highs, but I want to congratulate everyone that was able to buy the dip at around $30 and be up, not a huge amount, but a decent amount as of today, right? So I want to break down, and I also talked about DGAS, so I want to see how that one's doing. So DGAS is still selling off, right? We talked about this one yesterday. We could see that there's a lot of consolidation. Right, I can't even. Did you hear me not being able to pronounce that? So yeah, there's a lot of consolidation happening around this general area. It's bounced here multiple times before. It doesn't mean 100% that it's going to bounce there, so that's something that we want to make sure that we take into consideration. So all I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be setting my alert for the potential reversal and try to take advantage of this margin of profit that it has to cover. So I think that's pretty solid to say. So Ricky can't English today 100%. Can you look at UA? Of course, Howler. Thank you again for tuning in. So ticker symbol UA, and the rest of the time that I'm breaking things down, this is where the transition is going to take place. I'm going to try to focus much more on swing trades. So I think these live streams are going to be very quick when it comes down to maybe my breakdowns, and from time to time I'll be taking some day trade positions, but majority of the time it's going to be really invested in just breaking down stocks for the group, talking about open-ended questions and something that you guys might need a little bit more assistance with. So hopefully that's something that you guys find attractive, and if not, then we could always change it, right? So as of right now for ticker symbol UA, we're showing signs of a pretty aggressive descending pattern. Can you guys see this? It's continuously been making lower highs, so something that we could take into consideration. I would be really surprised, as this thing sells off, it pushes up. As it sells off, it pushes up. As it sells off, it definitely makes sense on why it would push up. Just make sure that by Howler, you calling this one out like that, you understand that as it pushes up, it doesn't really hold for a long period of time. So really take that into consideration of maybe this is a day trade, something that I don't want to maybe hold for a very long period of time because of this aggressive descending pattern. So hope that's good. All right, so yeah, so Paola is asking ticker symbol LABU, of course. So LABU showing a lot of consolidation right around this price point. I've seen it kind of struggle. We've been able to see it really consolidate. So again, 3 stages into reversal, and I think this one's really putting it to the test. The rejection, the consolidation, and then the overall confirmation of the uptrend. It's still struggling to make higher highs. I mean, it hasn't broken above $97 and pushing up to $100. So something that we might want to take into consideration of look at these high points that it's hit and then it gets rejected. So Paula, I would just take that into consideration as it's trying to push up, that we're approaching potential resistance areas, and there's nothing wrong with locking in profits before we get that general confirmation that it's going to continue to uptrend. So I'm going to set my alert there, and yeah, so let me know if you have a specific question and kind of go based off of that. So I know that LABU was also a very common stock or ETF that Mr. Don was continuously talking about. He was one that was being able to buy the dips and sell the highs. So hopefully it could work out well for you as well. EGAN. Okay, EGAN just showed signs of this potential reversal. Just broke above $14. Just know that it's been struggling to make higher highs. So yeah, just something that we want to take into consideration. Oh, appreciate that, Paula. There was one that I wanted to answer. Where is it at? So Ricky, this is by Jamie. It's asking any way to avoid stocks getting downgraded like ON did overnight. So that is a risk that you take, right? when holding something overnight, especially as this thing was showing signs of a potential reversal. You have to understand that there's something like positive and negative catalysts that just always happen. And this is something that we talked about yesterday. Like, well, when there's certain news that is released that was completely unexpected, there's nothing that you could have been able to do about that. The biggest thing that at least when it comes down to my sell-up trading, what the heck, it just broke above 22, it just recovered, is understanding like how to manage risks. So when something huge happens, like maybe like the ticker symbol ON, when it was trading up here and then it gets rejected, if you have the possibility or the idea of when negative news comes out to cut losses quick so you don't have to ride the sell-off, that could be definitely something that a lot of people would find very attractive. So if news is released during the like market open, then obviously you could set your alerts and you can trade based off of that, and there's always something that you can do in accordance to that. But if certain news is released and it's like during extended hours or after market hours, it's like very little very little of what you can do. So as long as you stay up to date of certain news or what can or cannot happen with whatever it is that you are trading, I think at least try to set yourself up for success. Just know that always anything can happen, and that's just part of investing in certain stocks like this. So maybe something that you can do to kind of try to avoid this is also trading more quality stocks that you are more familiar with that might not get downgraded, such as ticker symbol ON. So yeah, ticker symbol ON is definitely climbing back up. So I'm really happy to see that. So it looks like it's covered a little bit over 4% recovery from that aggressive sell-off. Just know that that general area might be acting as a resistance as it has before. So however it is that you guys feel comfortable. Okay, so I saw someone talking about ticker symbol ABIL. I think it's very easy to understand or to see that this is a pump and dump, no volume, all of a sudden huge volume bars, and then huge manipulation, and then it sells off the following day. Like this is just like very easy to understand that like there's no volume, all of a sudden there's manipulation or news, and then it only lasts for about a day. So this is something that we've talked about multiple times in the course on how to avoid this and how to be able to properly identify this. So thank you again, Grim, for announcing it with the group. Yeah, let's check out RTRX. So yeah, so RTRX, so I think you said it pretty well. RTRX has a great pattern but very low volume. You can see that it's been pulling back quite a bit. It's been really struggling, right, to really start pointing up and to break and hold above $28. So that's personally something that I would take into consideration before taking the next position. This is one that I was considering to trade with the Stock Market Growth Challenge account. But that resistance and that rejection that it continued to receive was a little bit unattractive for me. So I would like a little bit more of a confirmation of an ongoing uptrend, and then after that, as long as I trade with a smaller dollar amount, then maybe volume wouldn't be such a huge factor for me. So let's see. So this is what I'm saying. Seeing if the group can identify. That helps tremendously. I don't know what is being talked about. Let's see. Okay, SABR. Let's check that out. Okay. I'll go ahead and scroll up in just a bit. So SABR, yeah, I do remember talking about this one. It was having a potential bounce around the SMA indicator. It looks like it is consolidating. The only thing that I saw was that it was like making like lower highs. So as long as it starts to push up and show more direction of it moving up, then I would find that to be pretty attractive. So let's just make sure that we set our alerts. I have a series of alerts set up here. It has a really nice margin, to cover. The biggest thing of why I removed this one from my watch list was that it was getting rejected a little bit too much for my comfort level. But it's doing a very nice job still holding above this, SMA indicator. So, did you see his comment? Yeah. Okay, I like that. Sounds good. Thank you, Jason. But yeah, as of right now, SABR is showing signs of a potential reversal. It's struggling right now to break above 25.25. The next resistance would be around 25.50. So something that we could wait out for, and I have alerts set for both. So Ricky, should my bedtime just be 2 a.m. now, so I can watch your late night streams? No, I'm. What time did I head to bed? Like 3 or 4?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm running now on like 2.5 hours of sleep, around there. But yeah, it sucks. Yeah. But Don, you're more than welcome to join. Ricky, okay, let's check that out. Okay, so AYX is showing signs of a very strong push up. Definitely looks very overextended. Let's go on the 1 day, 1 minute chart. Volume is pretty normal on this one. Looks like it's just because of its earnings that it pushed up very aggressively. I don't find this to be a good deal. Looks very overextended. If it continues to make higher highs and you want to trade based off of that, that's up to you. But I definitely see more margin of loss than margin of profit just due to previous patterns. So yeah. Let's see. Okay, so let's check out Facebook. Anytime you guys have any questions about this one, I'd feel more than happy to check it out. I actually like the pattern that Facebook is showing. The MACD is pulling back a little bit. The RSI, did get a little bit more overextended. It's getting closer to this EMA line, which is definitely something that we want to see. And the margin of profit that it still has to cover is still pretty decent. The only thing that I would be worried about is like for any news to come out as we're holding, and for it to cause like a negative catalyst or a potential pullback. So that would be the biggest worry as of right now. Gas report today. Yep, natural gas report today at 7:30. For all those that want to trade UGAS or DGAS, that might be something interesting. But as of right now, there's not much that I can say about Facebook. There's just a lot of consolidation. I think that it still has more margin to sell off. Maybe closer to the EMA indicator around like 184. But other than that, it's doing a really good job trying to hold above this EMA indicator, which is something that I'm very impressed by. So I'm going to set my alerts. We can follow up with it. If you have a specific question about Facebook, feel free to let me know. I'd be more than happy to answer it. How's JNUG doing? Okay, so JNUG got rejected and pushed up. So we'll follow up with it and see how it does. Hey Ricky, I know you mentioned how to get rid of the alert flag on the charts. Yeah, so all you do is it's under the setup for in the Learn Plan Profit course. So all you do here is you click on this and you click on alerts and click share arrows only and not the whole alert. So yeah, just show arrows only, and then you click OK, and then you're solid. Okay, CCRN. Very low volume, something that I don't personally find that attractive. Looks like it had a pretty aggressive sell-off. It was already showing signs of a descending pattern. I would look a little bit more into like why it sold off so aggressively. Obviously, it looks like it's because of its earnings. Watch out for the potential resistance around the EMA indicator. But like we could see multiple times before, like this would have been interesting to trade leading up to the EMA indicator. Now we might get a slight resistance or rejection. But if it still continues to uptrend, then make sure you watch it very closely. Also, the volume is pretty low, so I'm sure a lot of things can just randomly happen. So Ricky, did I cover SFIX? I did cover it a little bit earlier. It looks like it's still definitely showing signs of a potential uptrend. Yeah, so it's doing a pretty good job. We talked about it struggling to to make higher highs and stuff like that. And I set my alert above $31. So thank you again for the friendly reminder. So I don't know, Don, if this is to me. So are you swing trading JNEG? I was thinking about it might have a push today when it comes and gets rejected. I definitely do see a lot of value in it and like why it could be a good potential buy. I'm just sketched out of like how aggressive this descending pattern has been. And just because of how, like yesterday went, that's the last thing that I want to take a position before the confirmation and stuff like that. I might take it with the stock market growth challenge and then just hold it, just to overall, based on overall opportunity costs. Like, it has a lot of margin to recover. So, we could trade it based off of that, but, it's still showing signs of an aggressive descending pattern. So I just want to make sure that we talk about that risk. UTX sounds good. UTX, I find this to be a little bit more on the overextended side. Do you see this? Like one of the huge areas that I want to focus on with the team is I really think like if we were to all focus on like swing trading, something that has been super effective for me. So like I don't do like one-on-one trainings. There's very few times that I've done like in-person trainings, but if I've done it like let's say for a family member or for a very close friend, one of the biggest things that I focus on is being able to identify when something is a good deal or when something is overbought. And I think it's very easy to identify that. So I focus on horizontal patterns or ascending uptrend patterns. Those are the patterns that I personally find to be most attractive. And then I talk about ranges. And this is something that I really want you guys to pay attention to. I know a majority of you guys all understand this. But I want you to understand these ranges of good deal territories and these ranges of good sell territories, and then where opportunity cost comes into play. So let's take UTX for example. Like UTX has the potential to shoot up to, like, let's say based on previous patterns, to 138, right? So we're currently trading right around 136. And it has the potential to hit highs of 138. That's about 1.5% potential for profit. That is definitely something that we could find pretty attractive, but also taking into consideration the marginal loss that it has to offer and the opportunity cost that, wow, is this really the best deal that I can take advantage of? Instead of focusing so much on trying to take a position, every single day, then making sure that we focus on quality positions. And every time that I message you guys, and I'm just like, hey, let's focus on that quality. Let's focus on that quality. What I mean is like taking less positions every single day and focus more on positions that are viewed as really good deals that, we have to kind of wait out for, right? If they're really good deals, then they don't come very often, right? So when, for example, is like if, when UTX sold off pretty aggressively and then it's showing signs of this reversal, this would be called a good deal opportunity, as it's showing signs of a potential reversal. We're getting it for a good deal after a pretty decent sized sell-off, and it was showing signs of an ascending uptrend pattern, and then it recovered, right? Yes, we could have purchased at around like 136 and sold at 138, and yes, we would have made money. But again, the overall understanding of trying to get in for a good deal, that the opportunity cost is worth it, and that we understand what we are investing in. Does that make sense? And I think we could use that kind of concept or understanding kind of for both either day trading and swing trading. We just have to use different time frames. So that's my breakdown on UTX. Okay, so ticker symbol M showing signs of a very strong push up. Again, just going based off of previous patterns, we could definitely see that it's much more on the overbought side. So with that understanding, let me ask you guys, like, is this something that you guys would want to buy right now? Like, anything can happen, right? And we state that multiple times. I try to be like as like open as I can with that understanding. Just like UWT yesterday, anything can happen. It had a huge sell-off. Is this probably the best deal that I can buy right now for Macy's, right? Probably not, right? We could see that it normally gets rejected around the $40 to $41 price point. Other than that, it doesn't really push much higher than that. So trading based off previous patterns, it wouldn't make much sense if I'm trying to get a good deal to almost be buying at the very top. So with that understanding and with that, analysis that I just performed, then I can make the judgment that maybe ticker symbol M is not the best buy right now. Yes, it's showing signs of a strong uptrend pattern. Yes, it is showing signs of healthy movement. So one thing that I can do is, because I like ticker symbol M so much and I like how it bounces around the SMA indicator, is I can set a series of alerts. As it pulls back down, for it to remind me that, hey, ticker symbol M, because what goes up must come down, right? Ticker symbol M is showing signs of a pullback and it's approaching the SMA indicator, which is where it normally bounces at. So maybe when it bounces or reaches this general area, then I can maybe take a position there because it's a much better deal around that price point. So did UWT just have a huge sell-off? Yep. That is beautiful. Yeah, /CL just pulled back right to that SMA indicator, that middle VWAP. So yeah, it looks like it was peaking out at around this area right here. So just something that we'll have to follow up with. But yeah, the beauty of swing trading. So this is going to be fun. Let's check this out. Yeah, UWT down. So no, so Alex, I do plan on holding the UWT position based on even with the sell-off that it just had, based on the overall pattern on the 180-day chart. It's showing signs of this potential reversal. So I do think that it has some margin to at least cover. And going based off previous patterns, it's definitely done this before. It might take some time, but it definitely has the margin and previous pattern history to reverse back up. So it's something that we can look forward to. So I think it's LABU. So LABU pushed up pretty aggressively. So congrats to all those that traded that. Looks like it just hit this previous resistance, or it's approaching this resistance that it peaked out at yesterday around 96.50. So it doesn't mean that it can't push above higher than 96.50. It just means that it's around this range of where it might be a good deal to sell. So just something that we can take into consideration. But yeah, Jason, so let's go ahead and let's see. So it has to do with its earnings. Yeah, so again, what's it called? Certain news or positive catalyst that comes out that acts as a positive catalyst and drives the price up. I would like to follow up with FLS in about a week, and I would be very surprised if it's still anywhere close to this area. It would make sense on then why it would pull back and come back down to that $46 price point. So something that we could follow up with, when something like this happens and it creates like huge, pushes up, you could even see the RSI and the MACD that's definitely abnormal and stuff like that. So LABU just broke above its resistance, so that's pretty solid. Yeah, earnings report. So it has an earnings report every quarter. Okay. Sounds good. Sounds good. Now to kind of close it out, do any of you guys have any open-ended questions that you've wanted to direct message me? So not so much about maybe a breakdown, but more of an open-ended question that you guys would like me to, cover. So I just got, so I think Parrot just called out TNDM, showing signs of a potential uptrend, showing signs of an ascending uptrend pattern. It makes sense on why around $30 it was a decent buy and how it's pushing up. So just watch out for the slight resistance right around previous patterns. So we could see one potentially right around $32, and then the one that follows around 32. What would it? No, $33. So yeah. So what is the exit plan for UWT? I want to give it a little bit more time to get closer to the EMA indicator. I want to see if that acts as a solid resistance. And if it does, then I could sell around that area. But I think that it has potential to get rejected by this SMA indicator, which is normally where it's been rejected even as it's sold off. So I'm going to be keeping a very close eye out on it, and it's been making kind of like lower highs. So that's definitely something that I'm taking into consideration, by selling a little bit early. But something that I'm excited to follow up with. So as long as we stay true to the pattern, then I think that's what's most important. So yeah. Okay, let me go ahead and I'm going to start. Let's see if we can get. All right. So this is a pretty good question. So how many stocks should I look at as a beginner? I would I think you pronounce your name by say Aminta. I'm sorry if I chopped up your name, but one of the first areas of opportunity that I would focus for newer traders is making sure that you don't overwhelm yourself, right? With so many different what's it called, stocks. So something that a lot of our traders have found to be very effective is the idea of creating separate watch lists. So I talked about it in the course of like why I have 3 or 4 different watch lists, and it's the different stages that each stock is in. I would really make sure that in your active uptrend watch list, so the stocks that you actually see value in for the week and that you're potentially looking at trading are kept as as close to zero as possible, right? That you want like 1 or 2 stocks that you're looking at for the entire week, so you don't overwhelm yourself. So yeah. That's not really something that I've really kept too much track of. So what's the longest period of time that you've held an ETF? Is it longer than a month or two? Yeah, it's not really something that I've tracked. I think it has to do with the overall opportunity cost and looking at the technicals and seeing where it might get rejected and stuff like that. So that would be much more important to me. So if a stock is increasing and making higher highs, do you stay away from it because of the previous pattern? No, I've traded multiple times like breaks of certain stocks like making higher highs and stuff like that. I focus much more on day trades on that just because it probably has to do more with momentum rather than the swing trades. But if you're talking about like for swing trades, then yeah, I focus more on like being able to get good deals and less on higher highs. So can you watch the natural gas report with us? I'll probably be in the chat checking out the natural gas report, but I probably will not be live. So no, I'm not listening to music. I'm using the microphone. What kind of brokerages or U.S. trading platforms for beginners that are outside of the U.S.? I know that there's like Ustock Trader. I think that one's pretty limited. There's Sure Trader. So and I think there's like Light Trader or Speed Trader and stuff like that. So I think we have a chat within or we do have a chat within Learn Plan Profit that talks about or it's designed for those that are outside of the US. So I would talk among those individuals and see what they have found to be the most effective. So I think that'd be helpful. So it says JNUG could be a good swing trade, waiting for that confirmation, Sergio. Yeah, that's definitely something that I'm taking into consideration before getting in. So a little bit more confirmation on that reversal. So PayPal, wow, PayPal shot up today. PayPal just shot up to 87.28. It just made higher highs. So the uptrend pattern continues. That's actually very attractive. Yeah, so Philip Caro, so what do you do when a pattern looks really nice and seems to be in the beginning stages of it going up, but the RSI is around 50? So I would give me an example of like what it is that you're trading. I would be less focused on the RSI and more of the pattern and the direction that it's moving. Also, if you're a little sketched out, that maybe it might have a little bit more. So just I'll obviously be patient with your entry. You want to make sure that you give it time for it to consolidate for the overall reversal to happen. But if you feel confident that it's starting to reverse back up, but you think that there might be a little bit more fluctuation for a potential pullback, one thing that I would personally look out for is maybe like the average up approach. I never like to average down, right? So I take a smaller position and then I add more to my position as it continues to uptrend. That is something that I've personally felt to be pretty effective. What? So Ricky, can you give away a couple of your tickets to the show? What show?
When you're gonna speak at?
I'm not. I did not. I was not super aware of like the price or anything like that. So like, if you guys can't go, like, I totally understand. I was just asked, to speak at that show. I'm like one of like what 15 people that's going to be speaking. So if you guys can make it, great. If not, then we're going to be hosting our own event shortly after this one. That's going to be mainly for just the stock market. So this was more of like networking, as you can see that there's people that do a bunch of different things that are going to be hosting that show and stuff like that. So, but yeah, I wish I could give away free tickets, but it's not. I'm not like the thing that's like funny that probably people won't believe is like, I'm not compensated at all in any way. I'm doing it more of like I have a really good relationship with one of the members that is hosting the event, and just to keep it alive, it makes sense on why to host it. So yeah, is the show in Missouri? Come on, Don. That's a bad question. We know nothing is in Missouri except for our amazing Don Fron. Are you going to trade UGAS and DGAS after the natural gas report? Probably not. But I'm excited to see how it turns out. Come to Canada. I'd love to come visit. Can you teach us how to trade guns? I don't have any guns. With $1,000, should I look at the two to three stocks between the five? So I really don't really care too much about like so. To be completely honest, like I don't care if you have like $100 or if you have like $10,000. I would focus much less on what dollar ranges. Like obviously you want to trade like quality patterns, quality stocks, and focus much more on that, and usually those stocks are in certain price ranges. But the biggest thing that I'd focus on is getting a good deal. So it doesn't matter if you could buy one share, it doesn't matter if you could buy 10 shares, because the margin of profit or the opportunity cost is the same. So like if one stock is $1,000 per share and it offers a 10% margin, yes, you could only buy one share, but it still offers a 10% margin. So you would still be making the same if a $1 stock that you can buy, 1,000 shares of, offers a 10% margin. It's the same thing. The thing that you want to take into consideration is like, what's the opportunity cost? How much margin does it have for profit? And what direction is it moving? So I would focus much more on that. So I think that hopefully that could answer your question. Mohammed saying, I'd love to meet you. What's going on, Mohammed? I'm super excited to see. I actually got a lot of people that reached out to me about that event. I actually didn't know that. I personally thought that event was a little bit pricey. I don't know if I could say that, but yeah, right? They have like,
It's pretty pricey. The when you're gonna start it?
yeah,
Yeah, I thought it'd be a lot cheaper.
Yeah.
I looked at the prices. I'm like, I don't want to see anymore.
yeah. So, but when are you going to do a meet and greet? Yeah. So, something that we'll have to follow up with, and hopefully, we'll get the chance to meet you guys. So, what is your next go to free? What? So the 1 day 1 minute chart in regards of day trading. So yeah, I'd say the 1 day 1 minute chart and also the 1 day 5 minute chart. I like to trade based off of that. So if you're asking like what's my go-to frequency time frame, other than the 1 day 1 minute chart, it would be the 1 day 5 minute for what's it called, day trading. You guys crack me up. It's the same price as the Tony Robbins show. Yeah, no, I know it's definitely pretty pricey. I don't know what they, I know they offer like this like exclusive thing where it allows you to, almost like stay the night at the house or something like that with all the other speakers. I'm personally not going to stay at that house. So yeah, just something. That is hilarious, Douglas. Yeah, I'm super excited to see how DGAS and UGAS play out. So we have about 16 minutes until that plays out. I want to thank you guys again. So hopefully I answered a couple of your questions. If you guys have any more questions that I could answer, feel free to, again, we do encourage you to complete the course first. I'm going to follow up and let you guys know on how my UWT position ends up turning out, but you guys know where it is that I stand with that, so we'll just be sure to follow up with that. So I want to thank you guys again for your time, and if there's anything that I can do to better assist you, then feel free to reach out, and I would love to assist. So yeah, Mr. Hankinson, get some sleep. I'm super excited to get a little bit more sleep. So I have my first meeting at, what time did Justin say? He said,
I don't know. I didn't hear about.
well, he'll wake me up. So we'll go from that, or from there. So tomorrow's video, how I lost another 200. Let's hope not. But yeah, let's check that out. I'm gonna do one more breakdown for Mr. Jonathan, just because you're so patient, and then we can kind of go from there. So ticker symbol CONN. Do I think that Con still has margin to cover? Definitely. So, I mean, it definitely still has margin to cover. I would say the range from around $36 to $38 is when it becomes more overextended. So just something to take into consideration, as it's pushing up, that, you're definitely reaching a territory where it's not so much of a good deal. Normally, based on previous patterns, we've talked about this before, better deals around 34 to 32. So as it's pushing up to these higher price points, just understand you're getting into a price point where the range might be a little bit more of a less of a good deal and stuff like that. So I want to thank you guys again for your time and for everything that is that you guys do. And I mean this like 100%. So like you guys are part of the Learn, Plan, Profit course, and you guys know how we do these live streams. You guys know what is in the course. If you guys actually have, like, I've received so much positive feedback from the course and everything that is that it's done. But if you have any suggestions that are actually to improve the course or the overall experience for our members that you think would not only benefit you but would benefit a lot of other members, just try to think of something, and if you can, just try to put it into very simple words, and then feel free to send it to me over direct message. You guys know that we're always looking at different ways on how to provide more value, so I hope that that's something that you guys know that you guys are more than welcome to reach out to us for, so we could properly implement it to the Learn, Plan, Profit community. So yeah, I mean, but that's really just it. So Joel, we have a because did you see I had a really red day yesterday, so I lost like 2,500. And then again, Austin, he was like, do you have to buy new dishes like every week because they all get broken? Question mark. But yeah, hope you guys all have an amazing rest of your day. Let's make sure that we keep it simple. Let's focus on that quality. And if you guys have any questions, let's reach out. So thank you guys again for your time. Take it easy, team. JNIG just broke above its resistance. It's pretty solid.